Hello, I'm Wendy Wilson, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Realizing Potential. I am so excited about today's guest. I haven't seen her in a while. She's been a very dear friend of mine for years and also a dear sorority sister. She has left this area, moved to the Valdosta part of the state, and has just taken off like a rocket ship and become a very accomplished author. She's an educator by day, by night. That is what her true passion is. But she segued into a different area, and she's impacting the literary world. I could go on and on about her, but I would love to introduce to, I know, a very small group. The Southwest Georgia community is very familiar with none other than Dr. Sheila Thomas. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me. It's
It's
so good to
my
see you.
pleasure. I was just sharing before we started. I miss you so much. I know you're in Valdosta, but yeah, just everybody's routine is just super busy these days. But I miss us connecting and having that safe space to,
Yes.
celebrate and vent and all of those things.
Yes. All of those things we did.
I
Yes. I
know.
missed that too.
Yeah, yeah. So tell the viewers who may not be familiar with your story and your background. Let's learn a little about learn a little bit about your academic history, your pathway, and then what you majored in here at Albany State. Why education? I'll give it to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, yes, I'm a native Albanian and I attended Albany State University where I received my BS degree in early childhood. And 5 years later, went back to receive my master's degree in early childhood because it's my passion. I've always wanted to teach, even as a young child. I always taught my dolls. So I knew I would become a teacher. And in high school, there were teachers who had a vital impact on my life and, it led me to become a teacher. And ongoing, I went on to Nova Southeastern University to attain my educational specialist degree, as well as my doctorate degree in educational leadership. So I love learning and always wanted to achieve and always to accomplish something. My mom always encouraged me to go to school, and that's what I did. So in Dougherty County, I worked as a teacher for 17 years in the elementary schools there. Went on to Albany Technical College and worked there for quite a few years, chaired the department of early childhood there. Then where I met you at Darton State College and taught courses there and was director of continuing ed. Moved on away from there to Sumter County for a year and then landed here in Valdosta, where I taught for many years and served on leadership teams. And I retired in May. I did retire after 30 years, but I've gone back just part-time. And my reasoning was because I knew there was a slide with the students, with their learning. And I was asked to come back and I was like, sure, I would love to come back and help the children to gain the needed learning they missed while they were out during the pandemic. In between that time of the pandemic, as you mentioned, I wrote my 2 books. So and just keeping busy doing things for the community as well.
Yes, yes. Super busy, super busy. Now, are you still in higher ed? I know one period of time you had a stint at Valdosta State. Are you
I am. I'm doing that. Yes, I'm so
doing that
busy.
too?
Yeah, and I enjoy that. I'm the college supervisor for the student teachers. So I go out certain days a week and observe the student teachers and give them pointers and, help them with them beginning their teaching career. And I love that as well because I want them to be successful educators.
Sure, and I'm glad we touched upon that, the whole Valdosta State piece, because we keep up with one another on social media, and I've read where you have impacted individuals in the teaching field, and they often refer to you for guidance and mentorship and for coaching. So I know you continue to have a big impact in that arena. Yeah, and so that goes
Yeah.
back to that passion. I tell people all of the time that there are certain callings in terms of professions, and teaching is one of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not my calling. I own
Yes.
that. Yeah, and again, you are evidence of that. So when you said that you were teaching your dolls at a young age, it all makes sense now.
Yes.
You started practicing early on.
I
Yeah.
did. I did. And as you mentioned, many of my former students from early years, I'm talking about second grade students, still reach out to me. Many are doctors or lawyers or whatever it may be, and they still reach out to me.
I'm sure.
And yeah, and students from Albany Tech, just everywhere. And I just, I get full just when I receive those messages from them to knowing that I had a vital impact in your life.
Absolutely. Well, again, and we won't stay on this point for too long, but it goes back. It really is a ministry. And you can tell the difference between those who are in it for different reasons and those who truly, truly love it. It resonates in everything that you do.
Yeah.
So thank you for your 30 years of service, and then you still continuing to impact those who also find themselves called into that ministry. So I am not surprised whether they have a terminal degree or not, that they are still ringing your phone to
Yes,
say,
they
hey,
are.
I
Yeah.
need some direction, some coaching, and some guidance. So thank you for that. But again, you and I also share a love for books and the literary world. So was not surprised when you decided I'm going to author some children's book. I was a little surprised. I was like, she is churning them out very quickly. I'm going to call you the Prince of the literary world. Prince could, yeah, he could roll out some
Yes.
CDs every other year. And so you've been doing that, and again, I've been following that on social media, and I love that you've got children now commenting and giving their reviews on the
Yes.
book. But tell us the inspiration. You have done you get so many awards. You have been continue to be a phenomenal mother to two amazing young men. And one that we so proudly claim here at Albany State. James
Yes.
Pratt is just doing remarkable things in our criminal justice department here. But tell us the thought behind the two books that you authored and the inspiration for those.
Okay, well, I've always wanted to write a children's book and really was inspired taking the class at Albany State University, our literacy class, and we had to write a children's book for an assignment. And when I finished that, I said, you know what? This is something I would love to do is become an author. And that was always embedded in my head to write that children's book. So I did. It took some years, to get it done, but I knew I wanted to write about my sons because they've always been my heart, my dear, my loves, my passion. So why not write about them? So writing my first book, JR's Biggest Fan, was very simple. I was taking just a little online course on how to write, and it said begin writing. I wrote that book in about 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. And yes, and because it's about my children, it's about my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the process was kind of tedious to learn what to do, but just writing the book was easy. The book for women anticipating an incredible turnaround, I started writing that one about 15 years ago. I kept a journal beside my bed of just things, things in life, my daily aspirations, things I wanted to do, things I was going through. And I would always tell my husband, I'm going to write a book about it. And along the way, my husband said, when are you going to write that book? I said, it's not time. It's not time. So I had to wait for the right timing to write the book. I had to go through some more things in life. And there are some things that are in the book that happened, just within the past 2 years. So that was my inspiration to write the book and to let other women know what I went through and hopefully inspire them that you can have an incredible turnaround.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for correcting me. I said two children's books because I know that JR's Biggest Fan has just gotten so much publicity and has been received so well. So I just had that in my mind. But one of the many things that I absolutely love and adore about you is you are always willing to share your story and forthcoming. And I have recalled many things that you have shared with me. One about raising teenage boys. I don't know if you remember that
Yes,
conversation.
ma'am.
I was
Yes,
having
ma'am.
a moment, and you're like,
Yes.
it's going to be okay in the whole college years. And I have
Mm-hmm.
had to recall that when I was having a meltdown, and I shouldn't put that on my son. I think it was maybe my daughter at the time when she was at Spelman. And you told me, you said, yeah, one day I had to get on the road and go check on James at Morehouse. Just was seeing some things. But what you said to me is, it will be okay. This is a part of the development journey. And so again, I thank you for that. I thank you for, you sharing these books, particularly the one about women, well, both of them. But so often we as women, we get busy and we're wearing so many hats and we're giving ourselves to so many different people.
Yes.
And I love that you were saying, here is my story. And no, although you see this amazing woman that stands before you, yeah, it was some difficult moments that I had to traverse, but nonetheless, I did conquer them all.
Exactly. And, when it comes to your children, of course, they're dear to your heart. And my sons, I've always encouraged them and gave them affirmations, as, little kids, yes, you can, son. And so that's repeated throughout the book. Never give up. Yes, you can. I'll always be your biggest fan. And I've always told them, my affirmation with James actually was, I love you forever. I love you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby, you'll be. And my affirmation for little Eric was, you're the best, but you're always getting better. To let him know you're doing well, but you can get better. So I wanted to share that with other mothers, grandmothers, whomever, to encourage their children. In this day and time, children are going through so much, and they need to hear some positive affirmations every day, every day of their lives in order for them to be successful. When it comes to women, like you said, we go through so much and we wear a mask. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was wearing this mask where, hey, I'm this phenomenal woman. Nothing is, I'm all powerful. I can do this, I can do that. But inside the four walls of my home, it was challenging, with finances, with my career. My career really it did not go the way I thought it should have went. And it was successful. Some would say, well, you had different positions, but it wasn't a position that I wanted. But God had a different segue for me to get to success. So that's what I want to encourage women in that book to understand, that your way is not the way that God has planned for you. And you just have to really talk to yourself and listen to God and see what He has planned for you.
Yeah, that is such a powerful message. Sometimes not sometimes, more often than not, we get caught up in with the world, their perceptions about us. And so you're absolutely right. I had no idea till we had conversations later on. I'm like, oh my gosh, because you were such a rock star here at the former Darton State College, certainly throughout the K through 12 system, just highly respected. At one point you were running the whole educational department at Darton. And then I remember you saying, I want to do something different. And he's like, what? You're amazing. Why would you want to do something different? But I'm glad at the end of the day, you listened to the universe, to the creator, and you were obedient to your calling. And so here before us, just follow. And what I also love is that you just follow your passions. And I've got these books in me. I'm going to author.
Yes. Yeah. And there are more coming. I've turned out two. I have ideas already. I keep my little vision board over here, and I have my 3 other stories ready to go for children. It's a series. Other things I want to do along with the book, coloring books, activity books for children, because that's my passion, to make things, available for children. And just a little set way, even here in the community, you may have heard I have the little free library for children.
Yes, please tell us about that.
Yes. So what my husband and I have done is we created a little free library at the homeless shelter, and we're just stewards. And this is a community event, and it's nationwide. And we went to the newspaper site and got an old rack and painted it, decorated, and we have books that we bought. Of course, my book is in there, and people all over the community have sent books. Even today, I have to meet someone to get some books to place inside of it. And we go out weekly to make sure that it's kept, that it looks good for the patrons who would like to use the little free library. And they're supposed to give a book, take a book, but it doesn't matter. If they keep the book, that's fine. I have many more to put to return into the little free library.
Yeah. See, that's why I don't do the library anymore, because I always want to highlight and keep my books. So yeah, I'd be one of those. Yeah, and I don't want to give them away either. So
right,
or return it with a new one. So thank you for doing that. yes, we're in some exceptional times. I know we will get through them, but what a wonderful means of escape that you are providing to young readers, because we've not seen anything like this. And so sometimes, more often than not, we have to create those moments to just, I don't want to think about COVID. I don't want to think about the social distancing and all of that, the election. And so mine, for me, as you well know, is let me just go and find an escape. And I can tell my stress level, and when I need to do that, is how quickly I will go through a book. And so last weekend, I read a book on Saturday and I read a book on Sunday. That is just how I needed to just
Yeah,
shut down from the world. So thank you for introducing that to young people and providing that. What a perfect place at a homeless shelter.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
because
we have, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go. Mhm.
We have plans to, set up a few more at some other places and even come to Albany. I was asked to bring one to Albany as well. And
Great.
then I have little books that I sneak and take to the kids that I serve at school because, they want the books that we're reading. I can't give them those. So I said, well, you know what? Some of the books I have here, I'll just, give those to
Oh,
the
that's
children. And they
beautiful.
get so excited, and as you know, my platform is reading and building a solid foundation. And I just encourage all parents and to work with their children at home and not just when they start school, but in the womb. That's always been my platform to build that solid foundation. And it begins with communication. I encourage all parents to read with their children and not just read, just talk to their children. Stop putting the devices into their hands and just read, talk to them. And all of that leads to reading, all of that leads to writing. And it begins at birth up till 3 years old to lay that solid foundation for your children.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you said you have some more coming down the pike. We can't wait for those. But how can we purchase these two amazing books that you have, that you're showcasing now?
There are two ways to purchase. Of course, they're both on Amazon. JR's Biggest Fan and Wait, Women Anticipating Incredible Turnaround are available on Amazon. But if someone would like to purchase a copy and have it autographed, they can purchase it from our website, which is www.drsheila.thomas.com. That's DRSHEILATHOMAS.com. And they can check out there, and I would send in them an autograph copy from my
Oh, I
website.
love that. I love that. Before we wrap up, let's speak to. I was looking at CBS this morning, and they were just talking about the weight that educators are experiencing now as a result of the pandemic. They were discussing the fact that the New York school system has shut down again because of the increase in cases, and just trying to now recalibrate and identify some additional safety practices for students, and just how that is just such a hardship on everybody because the kids need that social engagement. They have to come back home, and just how educators, teachers are just overwhelmed. Now I've got to adjust to, again, doing an online engagement with students. We know that of the digital divide still remains, and so it may be difficult for a lot of it is difficult for a lot of students to just connect, or may not have the physical resources to do that. And how you all just oftentimes personalize that, because again, back to that passion, I can't do my job effectively because I'm not connecting with you in a way that works best.
Right.
Speak to those educators out there, particularly those. We have a great educational program here at Albany State University, and those that are preparing for that life post graduation. How do you stay encouraged, motivated, and just keep your eyes on the prize, which is providing the best for those that you have been placed in your care?
Well, my terminology that I've used with my student teachers is flexibility.
Mm.
At the beginning of the semester, when I went to meet with my students, I say there are there are a lot of unknowns right now. We don't know which way we will go. Even in the school system now, there are rumors that we may go online. I'm, speaking of myself, like, well, that means I would have to go online. I didn't set up for that. But I tell them to be flexible and realize that you're still providing a service for the students. you still wanted them to be successful. So think of resources that you can go out and find, ways that you can diversify your instruction, differentiate your instruction to meet the needs of all the learners. The thing about it is many of our learners don't have access to the internet. So we have to find ways to accommodate them. And of course, that's within the whole system. Higher ups have to take care of that. But for the ones who do have access to it, the teachers have to train them. And then, of course, the teacher has to be trained. So it's like you're jumping into water and you're just learning to swim, just with no instruction. So I tell them, just be flexible, learn what you can, take one day, one moment at a time, and to just breathe. To breathe. Don't get overwhelmed, because that can really cause everyone to become emotional, which can impact your physical being as well. So just take it one day at a time. Do what you can for the children, and not just for the children, the parents as well, because parents are having to go through a lot with this transition. Even with mine, when he was home during the months of March through May, it was a journey. It was, but we worked through it, and you have to plan that instruction to meet the needs of the parents as well. Again, that term flexibility, and then just encouraging yourself. I tell everyone to encourage yourself, speak over yourself, and realize I can do this. And when you can't, say, well, there's just so much I can do today. Never say you can't. There's so much I can do today, and tomorrow I will make it better.
Wow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why she is such a success in the education realm. I feel motivated. We need to get this out across the country so you can inspire. Because it can be daunting. I'm not in the classroom space. I'm on the administrative side of this educational process, and I'm overwhelmed. Hats off to faculty members and instructors, because as I say, they're on the front lines. And again, I know my calling. It's not that, because I always had this sense that I have 20 students before me that are looking for me to, the expectation is that I play a critical role in their overall development. Mm-hmm. And so that is why, again, I know that it is definitely a calling, because what you just said and your demeanor always, you just do it with ease and grace. And it is an unbridled and unconditional love. So I thank you for that. I'm so excited. When I read, I was like, what do you mean she's retiring? It's not time to retire. And then 30 years, but it goes by fast, but you're still having a direct impact. And so you are such an honor to the educational profession. So I'm just so proud of what you have done and what you continue to do. And certainly that you are a product of Albany State University. So come back. Give me a call, send me a text when I've written that next book, and let's promote that. Tell us again where we can either get it online if we want a autographed copy. Tell us your website, and we'll have it in the lower thirds as well. I know you mentioned Amazon.
Yes. Again, it can be purchased on my website, which is www.drsheila.com. That's DRSHEILATHOMAS.com.
Very good. I love and adore you. So proud of you. And I miss you.
I miss you also. Yes.
Okay. Kiss the family for me. Know that you're always welcome back on Realizing Potential. It was an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Viewers, thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Realizing Potential. I'm Wendy Wilson, and I look forward to seeing you next time.